I have a very brief sermon today, and I will give it. I know we're running late, but I'll make my way through it. Today, I would like to talk briefly about being thankful. And we have heard many times how laughter is the best medicine. This, I think, is generally right, though there are different kinds of laughter, and not all of them are good for you or for society. I've also found in my own life that gratitude is a pretty good medicine, too. And by good medicine, I mean being thankful seems to automatically orient one's spirit towards hope and joy. Part of the discipline of thankfulness is discovering that even some of the difficult and challenging parts of life are often worthy of gratitude. Last Tuesday, I received an email from a friend. He is 75 and long retired from a successful career in civil service, where he, among other things, ran a statewide program in mental health. I won't tell you which state, other than to say it is not either Michigan or Indiana. In his email, my friend recounted some deep regrets over moral failures in his life, acts he described as stunningly cruel. He felt like he was still many years later carrying the burdens of these sins. In my reply, I recounted some of my own sins against the ones I loved and the congregations I had served in the past. I shared my opinion that the idea of somebody, a God-man, dying for releasing me from my sins held little appeal. I further suggested that the burdens of the past are rightly carried forward, and while I regret my sins, I am in a way thankful for them. I've come to believe that my burdens and my sufferings are like the grains of sand that are placed in the shells of oysters to create cultured pearls. The sand is an irritant that the oyster, to release from its suffering, coats with grains with many layers of substance that eventually turn into pearls. I have acquired a significant string of such pearls. My pearls are part of my treasure, though I deeply regret the pain that I have caused others. They have taught me about human frailty, my own and others. They have taught me about grace. I have learned that life is much better when I extend grace into life and not judgment. We are all frail. We all make mistakes. When we do things harmful to others and ourselves, it is often because we are responding to the lash of our own unrefined, immature egos, driving us to cram our lives into inhumane templates. Another thing I think I've learned from atoning for my own sins is awe and wonder. Doing our own work of atonement causes us to reflect on the nature of our existence. It does not take us long to see that our lives are embedded in profoundly mysterious processes, that you and I do not so much come into the world when we are born, but come out of the world and are really of it in ways that are completely intimate to it. We discover that life is not something we live, life is what we are, and that our true nature is both temporary and eternal. This is the genius of our seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of existence of which we are all a part. Shifting gears a little bit, one of the things that I am thankful for in my latter years is this fellowship. You've been a source of redemption for me, even though I was very lucky with the United Methodist churches I served. They were great congregations with loving, interesting people in them. From them, I learned a lot about how to be a minister and a human being. I never, however, felt like I was doing right by my congregations or myself. When I came out of seminary, I was pretty convinced that the Christian church needed to be put on a new footing, that it was no longer appropriate to believe in the literal historical truth of many of the Bible stories, and that modern human consciousness would do much better with the understanding that these great old stories, though still very valuable and have a very potent message for us, were about human beings and not gods. For instance, the well-known story of Jesus dying on the cross, spending 3 days in the tomb, and the being resurrected from the dead is, in my imagination, not a factual story. It is very valuable, however. Almost everyone comes to a time, or maybe several times in their lives, when they must die to their old ways of being, thinking, and doing. Dying to oneself is not easy. It does not happen overnight. After dying, there is the tomb, a time of darkness and despair. Life seems empty and hopeless. And I might think that it seems empty and hopeless no matter how successful you are in your career, no matter how loving your family is, and no matter that you are made Man of the Year by the local Kiwanis Club. But time passes, and sometimes something inside us knits together a new way of being. Then one day, new being bursts forth, and it is resurrection time. The dynamic of dying, the tomb, and resurrection may happen to an individual 1,000 times or only once in a grand crisis. It seems likely to me that it does happen for everyone. This fellowship has played a prominent role in some of my dyings, some of my tombs, and some of my resurrections. For that, I am extremely thankful. Plus, I am fascinated by you, all of you in the Unitarian Universalist Project. We are the high wire act of religion. There's no net formed of ancient creed to catch us. We are up here trusting that the stirrings of our own hearts, the reasons of our own mind, and the support of this community are a sufficient basis upon which we can build our lives. It really is breathtaking to be a part of this congregation. That is why I am so thankful for all of you. Let's take a moment now to meditate briefly.